Let's get you breaking news coming in of the Supreme Court there putting a stay as far as the UGC regulations are concerned. This is the top court's big observation on UGC. So do remember there were a lot of protests that had erupted over the UGC implementation. Now this is a matter of unity of India is what the Supreme Court has gone on to say. So this is breaking news coming in with the Supreme Court stepping in and putting a stay as far as UGC is concerned. The regulations, this is a big observation by the Supreme Court with the CGI, Suryakant there, saying in a country after 75 years, all that we have achieved to become a classless society, are we becoming a regressive society? Worst thing which is happening in ragging is that children coming from south or the northeast, they carry their culture and somebody who's alien to that starts commenting on them. Then you have spoken about separate hostels as well. For God's sake, there are intercaste marriages also now in our society, and we have also been in hostels where all stayed together. That is what the Chief Justice of India has to say about the UGC regulations. Do remember massive protests that took place, and now the Supreme Court putting a stay on that is what basically has been said in court today by the Chief Justice of India. So a huge observation that has been made with that bill, the protests that took place with, of course, a lot of that was being demanded as far as the UGC equity regulation is concerned. So there we have, of course, the Supreme Court there taking matters this was hearing the petitions challenging the promotion of the equity in higher education institutions. The regulations challenge the discrimination against general categories. And of course, this was led by the Chief Justice of India, Suryakant. And this, the petitions against the UGC equity regulations that were filed, in fact, with the petitioners there contesting the regulations promoting discrimination against general classes. So that was a case that was raised. And of course, Nupur, my colleague, joining us on the phone line. Nupur, take us through the proceedings in court. What is it that the Chief Justice has said, and while putting a stay on the matter?
Well, there are in fact big developments now. The Supreme Court has said that these regulations are vague and can be misused, and they need to be looked upon by an expert committee. It has also sought response from the centre on constitution of an expert committee to look into these new UGC rules. So while issuing a notice to centre, the Supreme Court, in a big intervention, has in fact said that it will be hearing in detail the responses on March 19th. And this is in fact a big development here, because the Supreme Court has not only issued notices but has made some strong observation, and it said that it does not want that the society be further divided on the lines of caste due to these new regulations. It has noted that these, in the current form, these regulations will only lead to further division within the society.
It is questioning, basically, they've been questioning the rules and the definitions, because the definition is of caste-based discrimination. My colleague Padmaja joining us as well. Padmaja, take us through, we saw that massive crowds gathering in protest of the regulation of the UGC. Break it down for us. What is it that they're really demanding here? What are they standing up against? And of course, the Supreme Court, they're really putting a stay on the matter.
This was a very, very unique situation where there wasn't only protests which was happening from the opposition. In fact, ironically, the loudest protests were heard from within the BJP, or at least the people who otherwise would be supportive of the BJP. Many so-called right wing were in protest, and in fact, even ABVP, which is the student body of the RSS, staged protests in several parts of the country. Now, when it comes to what the Supreme Court has done today, it is the observations here which are very, very significant, as are being pointed out again and again by Nupur. For the Supreme Court to say, in a country after 75 years, all that we have achieved to become a classless society, are we becoming a regressive society? Another example was taken inside court, where it was asked, like America, are we going to have a situation where people of color and the white people, their children study in separate schools? Is that the direction that we are going in? The worst thing which is happening is ragging, is that children coming from South south or northeast, they carry their culture, and someone who is alien to this starts commenting. Then you have spoken about separate hostels. For God's sake, there are intercaste marriages also in our society. So a couple of things. One, the talk about discrimination. Are you creating a situation where there could be again an injection of discrimination? We're trying to become a classless society, and this is only going to exacerbate the divisions or the fissures that may exist. We don't want to go in that direction after all of these years after independence. Point number one. Point number two, and this was a very significant observation that was made, there are several points which are vague and will be open to misuse, which is why experts need to again see this entire issue, and this needs to have a complete relook. Why this is also important, Divya, is that in the recent past we had seen members from within the BJP. There was one MLC from Uttar Pradesh, and this was the strongest. The reaction to this was the strongest in poll-bound Uttar Pradesh. An MLC from Uttar Pradesh of the BJP said that this is nothing short of Hitler Shahi. जिस तरीके के rules लाए गए हैं, वो forward caste or general caste are going to be victimized under that. Another MLA of the BJP yesterday wrote a letter saying that we need a complete overhaul of these UGC regulations because it is going to be open to misinterpretation and misuse. Then you had got Manan Mishra, who is a Rajya Sabha member of Parliament of the BJP, who again took a nuanced line but basically suggested that this was open to misuse and misinterpretation, and that should not happen. It must also be said that day before yesterday, Dharmendra Pradhan, the education minister, had come out and said that everyone should be assured there will be no misuse allowed of these laws. But the nature of a law is never drafted in order for it to be misused. But when it does happen, people become cannon fodder, and which is where the Supreme Court's proceedings today extremely significant, Divya.